Hello, my name is Amelia Potempa, and my project is reducing formaldehyde through common houseplants. I would like to thank my teacher, Mr. Thielson, for helping me work through my project and giving me the opportunity to do a project like this in these tough conditions. I would also like to thank my parents for helping me come up with this project idea and for buying some extra materials that were needed last minute. Lastly, I would like to thank my classmates for looking over my work and encouraging me to continue with my project. Purpose. The purpose of my project is to control and improve indoor air quality. Indoor air quality has recently become a bigger issue and not many people take account for it. Without taking precaution, it can lead to eye and skin irritation and higher chances of catching a cold. Using plants to reduce formaldehyde is a cost-effective way to reduce the amount of formaldehyde in homes. Hypothesis. If formaldehyde is reduced a smaller amount through the houseplants individually, then all of the plants together will reduce a significant amount and create a healthier indoor air level. This is caused by the indoor air quality decreasing through the variety of plants, which is a natural way of reducing formaldehyde in indoor spaces. Review of literature. If you don't know, formaldehyde is a common indoor air pollutant that is strong smelling and a colorless gas. Formaldehyde is released through pressed woods, home insulation, and cleaning supplies. The amount of formaldehyde reduced depends on the temperature, growth rate of the plant, light intensity, plant species, and the concentration and identity of formaldehyde. Make sure to put your plants in the sun to get its full effect. Formaldehyde is reduced through the roots. From previous experiments done by scientists, formaldehyde has been reduced a high amounts during the day rather at night due to the lack of sunlight and cooler temperatures at night. The amount of indoor air pollutants varies from person to person because a person that smokes and doesn't clean their house and does not replace their filters or vacuum carpets would have high levels of air pollution in their home. Children are at a higher risk from the emission of formaldehyde since their organ systems are still growing and would affect their respiratory systems as they grow older, such as developing asthma. So you should do your kids a favor and add some plants. The root zone is the main part of the process of the reduction of formaldehyde for indoor plants. The root zone is where the plant can extract water and nutrients for the plant to grow. So as the plant continues to grow, the more formaldehyde that is being reduced. PM 2.5 and PM 10 are two other pieces of data that I recorded for it, and when they're high, they can affect your respiratory system greatly. Formaldehyde is a type of TVOC, toxic volatile organic compound, which means that they don't bind with each other or dissolve in water. TVOC tests for all the toxic volatile organic compounds in the air, while HCHO is specifically formaldehyde. There is only one side effect of using houseplants, which is that it could lead to moisture buildup. But that could only happen if you don't control the humidity in your home. Using plants is still a better option because you are not taking up as much time replacing filters as frequently and can control it better. Materials. I used these materials to keep my project controlled as possible and make it as efficient for the best results. I used a formaldehyde detector, 3 individual greenhouses, 1/2 measuring cup, a 4-inch burgundy India rubber tree plant, a 4-inch English ivy plant, a 6-inch areca palm, and 3 plastic tablecloths, duct tape, scissors, and 3 water catchers. Procedure. For my procedure, I first opened up the greenhouses and cut the plastic tablecloth around it so that no air underneath could get inside of it, and duct taped the sides so that it was as enclosed as possible. After that, I placed each plant inside one of the enclosed greenhouses, and then watered them the first day. After the first day, I started to collect data every 3 days and watered them every 2 days. Variables. The independent variable is the 3 plants tested: the India rubber tree, English ivy, and Areca palm. In the pictures below, the Areca palm is on the left, the English ivy is in the middle, and the India rubber tree is on the right. Dependent variable is the formaldehyde being reduced. The controlled variables are the amount of water and the enclosed greenhouses. The control group is the air measurements before the plants went into the enclosed spaces. Here is my data table. You can see that I tested 6 days and had starting out conditions beforehand. At the bottom of each plant, I took the average and used that to compare my data. Air quality. You can see at the beginning that the Areca palm was the lowest, then the second half went up and started to be similar to the English ivy and India rubber tree. HCHO. The amount of HCHO was relatively low for the first couple days and then tripled after the next days. TVOC. Like the formaldehyde, the first couple days were pretty good and seemed to be reducing until the last days when it rose dramatically. PM 2.5. As you can see, they're all relatively around the same and only seem to rise one day, which was February 6th. PM 1.0. The Areca palm was the one that was most inconsistent, but the English ivy and the rubber tree followed the same trend. The English ivy stayed mostly the same, and the Areca palm was the odd one out at the beginning, but then decreased. That was for PM 10. The temperature. The temperatures were overall the same, except for one that fluctuated the most, which was the India rubber tree. About the rest of the plants were close to the following same trend that were similar. The humidity was around the same for the Areca palm and the English ivy at the beginning, and as the testing went on, they got more different. The India rubber tree was the most inconsistent and seemed to get lower than the rest of the plants. Data analysis. The Areca palm was reduced the most. This one had been reducing at great rates from the beginning. Even though this plant was a slight bigger than the others, it reduced a fantastic amount. The HCHO and TVOC and indoor air quality was lower than the others. This could be due to where the plants got sunlight in, or because it was bigger than the other 2 plants. Though this one was reduced the most, the PM 1.0 and the PM 10 were higher. Since it was higher, this could mean that they didn't have a big effect on the amount of formaldehyde reduced. The English ivy was the second lowest, and the HCHO, TVOC, and indoor air quality were higher. Temperature and humidity were similar to the Areca palm. The India rubber tree had the least amount of formaldehyde reduced. The humidity was low, so this could have played into how much it was reducing, while the PM 10, PM 2.5, and PM 1.0 were very close to the English ivy. Conclusion. All the reductions of formaldehyde were at the same date, so they could all go down and would all go up together. There wasn't one that went down and another went up. When testing the amount of formaldehyde, it was always lower inside the enclosed greenhouses than the formaldehyde within the whole household. Lower the PM levels, the better when the PM is high, because it can cause coughing and wheezing. Throughout my experiment, I tried to do my best to keep constant variables, but along the way there were some challenges. During the weeks I tested, there wasn't much sunlight because it was snowing and the weather wasn't the best. And since the plants were close to the front door of the house, this might have impacted some of the results. Along with the times of day I collected data weren't all during the same time, like I tested during the day sometimes and during the night. The hypothesis was correct with the idea that formaldehyde was being reduced, but I didn't account for them to jump up so quickly. Looking in the future, if I make it further, I will be testing two other plants that were supposed to be testing in this experiment but got delayed because of the shipping. Indoor air quality should be monitored often, and plants are an easy way to improve your health and indoor air quality. Thanks for listening.